Most of us have been taught that if we want our lives to feel more luxurious, then we need to buy more stuff. The latest trends, designer labels, just more. It took me over a decade to learn that if you want your life to actually feel elevated and chic, then it's not about buying more all the time. It's actually about buying less and being shamelessly picky about what you do decide to spend money on. The internet right now is calling this concept frugal chic, and I absolutely love that. It's a term coined by creator Mia McGrath. I'll leave her down below. Definitely follow her. She is awesome. So in this video, I want to walk you through 10 frugal chic habits that you can start right now that will save you thousands every single year without ever feeling like you're compromising on luxury. Starting with the first habit that doesn't need to cost you much at all, and that is playing favorites. So I'm talking things like having a signature scent, having a favorite lipstick or lip liner or mascara, or having a go-to style uniform that you wear on repeat. Just to me, I don't know, there is something so chic about knowing exactly what it is you like and what works for you. But in the intentional spending or frugal chic mindset, these things don't necessarily have to be cheap or inexpensive. They can be things that feel like splurges or luxurious, but the key here is that you actually use it. And you use it so much that you couldn't really picture yourself using anything else. You're not distracted by the newest launches, latest trends, because you know exactly what works for you and you're fine sticking with that. And I think that's exactly how it saves you money in the long run. You might be able to splurge on an expensive fragrance, but if that's your signature fragrance that you wear every single day and that people know you for, then it means you're actually using the thing and getting your money's worth. Think of like your mom or your grandmother using the same like moisturizer their entire life. I think that's awesome, and I think that is financially savvy at the end of the day. The next habit is all about being a little picky, and that is knowing exactly where you're going to splurge with your money and where you're going to save it. So for example, you might splurge on a designer bag that you wear with pretty much everything, but the rest of your wardrobe is mostly thrifted. Or you might spend a little more money on things like shoes and outerwear, but you save on things like white t-shirts or denim. Where you decide to spend versus save is going to be individual to everyone, but the key here is that you're not trying to do it all. Trying to upgrade everything all at once is usually where a lot of people go wrong. And I get that because once you buy one nice thing, you want to buy more and more and more. That's a natural reaction, I think. But in a more intentional spending or frugal chic mindset, you really do have to start being picky about where it is you want to spend versus where you want to save. So it's really about understanding where it is you like to spend money, and when you do go to spend it, there's a thought process behind it. You know exactly the areas in your life that you're willing to spend a little bit more, whether that be on closet, travel, fitness, food, whatever it is, and you know exactly where you're willing to spend a lot less, so that you can spend more in the other areas you care about. The next habit is to start paying close attention to what you're actually buying. And when it comes to wardrobe, I think a shift a lot of people are making right now is switching to mostly natural fibers. And I think that's a great trend for a lot of really good reasons. They feel better on the skin, they wear better, and when you're out looking to buy something, you have to check the tags. It makes the actual act of shopping a whole lot slower. I think the key to the frugal chic mindset and habit is everything is slow and intentional. So you don't just stop at seeing the item and thinking, oh, that's really cute, I like it. You take it a step further. You look at the tags and you ask, is this a fabric ratio that I'm willing to spend my money on? Then you look at the construction, and that's on top of asking questions like, am I actually gonna wear this? Does this feel worth my money? Or is this something that I just think is cute right now? When it comes to buying anything, and this I think especially with clothing, is that you're setting yourself a set of standards that need to be met in order for you to even consider spending that money. And having a natural fiber criteria for certain things in your wardrobe, not everything, but that's another conversation. It just makes it so you stop buying on autopilot and you turn yourself into your own gatekeeper. Which brings me into habit number 4, and that is learning the difference between price and value. I think the frugal chic and intentional spending mindset is really all about curation. And this is where you don't necessarily look to buy the cheapest thing all the time. As long as you can afford it, price starts to become one of the more less interesting factors about the buying decision. And the factors that start to matter more to you are things like quality and cost per use. So where you can, instead of thinking about just price, you start thinking about how many times am I gonna wear this? Does this go with the rest of my wardrobe? Is this something that fits my personal style? Is this something that I'm going to wear for years? And that's where you might start to be more inclined to buy the $30 or $40 t-shirt compared to the $5 one. And this mindset doesn't need to apply just to your closet. I've applied it to my office. I've applied it to things like jewelry, outerwear, footwear. Like for example, when I was looking for an office chair, I was looking at this one from Herman Miller that got a lot of great reviews, was supposed to be really ergonomic. And I'm gonna be sitting in that chair for sometimes 7-8 hours a day editing videos versus going for the cheaper option that I might have to replace, that might break or might not be as comfortable. I've spent a little bit more money and I've had this chair for 7 years and I have loved it. Not an ad, just an example. Somewhere else I like to use this mindset is when buying things like gold jewelry. The gold plated stuff, although it's fun and looks cute, as soon as it gets exposed to moisture or even air one time, it starts to tarnish and it just looks really bad really quickly. And gold plated jewelry is not cheap. So if I am looking to buy things like jewelry, then I'm gonna opt for a solid gold option. Because I actually wear it every single day, if you think about it, jewelry probably has the best cost per use if it's something that you're going to wear every day. And I want it to last. Anytime I have only used price as the driver has mostly been a regret for me because you end up having to replace the thing sooner or it just doesn't perform the way you want it to. So spending a little bit more upfront and making sure that the thing you buy meets your needs and really thinking about only buying it once, that is a mindset and a habit that is going to save you thousands over the years. And getting into these habits, it's not necessarily all about how you shop and spending money. It's about taking care of your future self too. Yes, you buy things mindfully, but that's not all you're spending your money on. And this is where doing things like saving and investing for your future before you even go shopping matters so much. You want to build the habit of investing in your future self before you even go on to invest in life's little luxuries right now. And it's because you do things like set aside savings, start learning how to invest. You do that up front so that you can invest in those little luxuries without feeling bad about it. The next habit is buying the thing you actually want. To me, this isn't really a conversation about buying dupes versus the real thing. It's just really about not compromising on the thing you actually want, even if it means that you have to wait to get it. The interesting thing about delayed gratification is I think it stops feeling restrictive when you know exactly what it is you want and what your preferences are. It lets you be disgustingly picky about what it is you want, and I think it's really cool not to be willing to compromise on that. So even if that thing you want is a bit more expensive, you're willing to do the work of saving for it, of waiting for it to go on sale, or even finding it secondhand. Just okay is not enough for you. And what that means is that you're not gonna waste time looking for the just okay second best. And you're also not wasting a ton of money buying those things to create double the clutter and double the wasted money, when at the end of the day, it's not the thing you really wanted. Which brings me into the next habit, which I think can potentially save you thousands depending on how much you like to buy of this category, but it is finishing what you start. Specifically when it comes to your beauty products like makeup and skincare. I actually did a project pan in the year of 2025 where I didn't buy any new makeup or skincare besides replacements. And if I learned anything, it is that it takes absolutely forever to use up a product. And when we're told that a way to live luxuriously is to keep buying more of those products, you're gonna put yourself in a position where you'll never be able to use it all, which turns into a ton of backlog, clutter, and wasted money. But I actually think finishing what you start applies to pretty much anything you buy. When it comes to food, you don't waste groceries, or even when you're buying clothes for your closet, it means that they're not sitting there with the tag still on them. You go and you actually wear them. When you get into a habit of spending with intention and being really picky about what you spend your money on, it's gonna become really important to you to actually use those things. And I know that sounds obvious, but I think many of us are more addicted to acquiring things rather than actually having and using the thing itself. If you're really serious about living a more curated and intentional lifestyle, then it's really about two habits: intentional buying and intentional using. But if you do want to buy something new, get into the habit of checking what you have first. I think with the Frugal Chic mindset, you know exactly what you want, but you also know exactly what it is you have, which means you're also really familiar with your taste. And I think in knowing exactly what you already own, when you do see something new too, it kind of stops you from always feeling like on the hunt for something, because over time, As you build this habit and mindset and really start curating things like your wardrobe and your space and your lifestyle, you kind of stop looking for that perfect replacement because what you already own is good enough already. That's not to say that you don't add things into your life later or even replace them, but it's less of that frenzied like, oh, I gotta get this because it's in brown and I have it in black, or this has a silver buckle and mine has a gold one, so I need the one in silver. I think what this habit is really gonna help you do is find the satisfaction and confidence and enoughness in what you already own, alongside a mindset of restraint and curation when you do add something else in. You kind of stop frantically looking for something better to come along, and you really start to be satisfied with what you already have. And you also stop buying the same thing you already own by accident, because that has happened too. Get into the habit of maintaining and not replacing. When you start to become really picky about what you spend your money on, you start to care about those things more, which means you actually take care of them. When it comes to clothing, it means reading the care instructions before you wash them, getting them tailored so they fit you perfectly, and doing things like sewing and mending as things start to wear out. Or when it comes to things like your kitchen, it's taking care of your cast iron pan properly or hydrating your cutting boards so that they don't fall apart. You make thoughtful investments into the things you own, you pay attention to quality, and you spend time looking for that quality. So it also means that you get into the habit of maintaining those things, which also over time increases its cost per use and just stretches the value of your money further longer. And finally, habit number 10 is to pause before you purchase. All of these habits work best if there's kind of a built-in pause button before you do anything. I like to do this by creating wish lists, but if you're out shopping or something like that, you can also wait until the end of the shopping trip to decide if you want to buy something. If you're scrolling on your phone and you see something you like, save it in your cart and walk away. Don't check out. Whatever really works for you. But the key here is to create a little bit of distance so that you avoid acting on impulse. And you know what, even if an impulse buy does get through because they still happen, whatever, having a process where you just slow yourself down at least a little bit can help you start to build the muscle of delayed gratification so that all of these other habits get easier over time. But I think it's one of the very first steps that you can take to make your spending feel more intentional rather than reactionary. And over time, this can lead to fewer impulsive decisions and more confidence in what you do decide to buy later. So those are just some frugal chic habits that can end up saving you thousands over time. And if you want to learn even more about this, definitely go check out Mia. I will leave her link down below. But you know what? A lot of these frugal chic habits aren't going to mean much if you don't have an understanding of your money. So watch this video next where I show you exactly how to start budgeting with real numbers from my very own bank account. That's right, we're spilling the tea. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.